everybody. I thought I would make a video because I haven't done it in about a week and a bit now. And I just wanted to start off by talking about a few products that I really like at the moment. My hair has improved significantly over the past 4 months. And do you know why? It's because I use, let me get it, these two incredible products. I love them. They are incredible. You get 750 mils of each shampoo and conditioner, and you know what? Both together, they cost under £20. That is such a bargain, and they make your hair so incredible. They're the TIGI Catwalk Oatmeal and Honey series, and I cannot recommend it enough. And I also team it with Tresemme Heat Defense styling spray, and just spray this after your shower and you will have the most incredible hair. Obviously mine looks a bit dodgy right now because I've just come back from college and I've been windswept and all that kind of thing, so yeah, that's cool. Well, what I wanted to talk about was mothers and eating disorders. And now, I know a lot of you probably have problems with this as well, because I think it's one of the perennial problems that eating disorder sufferers face, especially if your mother is very controlling about food and very interested in food herself. I mean, my mother actually had an eating disorder when she was around in her 20s, and also my aunt had anorexia, and that's my mum's sister. So you can see that there's quite a lot of history of eating distress in my family, which isn't the best thing, but it doesn't really mean that you will necessarily get an eating disorder. It just increases your chances of being predisposed to an eating disorder. And I think the reason there are problems with mothers and daughters or sons and eating disorders is because if the mother has obvious issues about food, then the child naturally, trying to model that parent, will try and pick up and emulate and be very aware and conscious of any difficulties the mother has with food. So throughout my childhood, up until the age of about 12, I mean, it was really apparent that my mother had a very strange and fraught relationship with food, and you know, it kind of projected onto me, really, because she would always tell me what was right to eat, what was good, what kind of things I should be ashamed of eating, and all those kind of things. But my mother could not introspect, and you know, her negative self-esteem projected onto me as well, and so she would also bring me down and be very scornful and harsh about me. When I was 14, she told me I was fat and that my family were ashamed of me, when my BMI was actually only, I think it was 21.6 or something, and you know, that's plumb in the middle of the healthy range. So, you know, I was not fat. My mother was very hyper and very in tune, sort of weirdly, almost over-tuned to what I was eating and my appearance. And one time, she came into the living room with a frying pan and kind of humiliated me in front of my whole family, saying how my head, the shape of my face, was like the frying pan, and that I had a fat and round face. And, you know, I talk to her about this, even now, and she says, oh, it's just a joke, you know. But, you know, these things, I think parents need to be very aware and very cautious of what they say to a child, especially a daughter who has witnessed her whole life the trials and tribulations of a mother with you know, fixations with food and diet, and, you know, her projecting those values she had onto me was, you know, I was crying out for an eating disorder. That is what my psychologist said. She said, owing to the experiences I had from my mother and the way she projected her negative self-image onto me, I was an eating disorder in waiting. And, you know, that's a very sad thing. But I find it quite interesting because, you know, when I'm older, and if I have children, which, you know, I don't really feel neither here nor there about, I don't really care if I have kids, you know, I would never, ever dream, I would try my best to behave and eat sensibly, and I wouldn't show, at least, I had these issues with food. I mean, a child, especially the same gender child, like the son usually tries to emulate the male role model, which is, if you do any sort of psychology, you'll learn in Bandura's social learning theory or something like that, that the child of the same sex as the parent will try and model and emulate them. So when you're confronted with such extreme views, like I was, about what was good to eat and what was bad to eat, and how that reflected on your character, you know, there was no bloody wonder why I got ill. But that wasn't the only thing. When I was ill, my food, the very little amount I did have, I kept in a completely different room to everybody else's. And, you know, I just didn't want other people to eat my food, which is fair enough, really. But one time I tried, I was on my binge day, and I wanted to have a bowl of cereal, and the only milk we had was obviously in my family's fridge, and I didn't have a fridge of my own, of course, just had a little sort of cupboard for my own food. And my mother literally screamed the house down at how could I drink the family milk when, with my eating disorder, I wasn't part of the family anymore, and she forbade me from actually drinking the family milk, even though I had a BMI of about 15 at the time, and I was incredibly ill, and yet she still denied me that basic right. It's absolutely shocking, isn't it? But, you know, my mother has issues with food. She still does. She still criticises me if I have something more indulgent, and she'll be like, oh, are you sure you should be having that? And she'll police me on my way to, like, the biscuit tin, or, you know, if I just want something a bit different, she'll question my motives, and she'll question me about why I think I can do that, and, you know, whether it's right or wrong. Even though my eating disorder could potentially have killed me, she hasn't learnt her lesson, and that is something to be lamented. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful. I really do think there is a lot to be said for problems with mothers, daughters, and eating disorders. You know, it's a terrible state of affairs, and if anyone can relate to me and what I went through, then, you know, I hope I've given you a bit more encouragement, and so you don't feel so alone. So I will talk to you all soon, and take care, guys.